Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Today is an unexpected video. Krista's bike was sideswiped by a vehicle when she was on it. She's fine. What we're going to do here is repair the damage. So what happened was she was going on the street and a vehicle was parked on the right. This was right off the beach on A1A. The vehicle pulled out, it hit her bike right here, didn't make contact with her. Thank God for the big boxer engine. It was a low speed side swipe. They were both going, less than 10 miles per hour, but the valve cover got cracked. The reason it got cracked is because we had this engine guard on, she had this engine guard on, and she had a highway peg. You can see it was right about here. Her highway peg was here folded up. And the highway peg mounting point piece got pushed just ever so slightly into the valve cover, the cylinder head cover, I mean. So that got cracked. There's a little crack somewhere under here we gotta find. It broke the shift cam cover. Luckily, I have experience with repairing something like this on the side of the road, and I'm in my garage, so it's a lot easier. So while we wait for insurance and our dealership that we bought this from to get the actual part and replace it, I'm just gonna fix this here and now. And here's how we're gonna do it. We're going to patch these with Weld steel stick. This stuff works really great for this kind of damage. Just patching it up until further notice. People have ridden several thousands of miles with a patched valve cover with a Weld. It actually helps because the engine temperature, while you're riding, after you let it cure, the engine temperature continues to cure at a higher temperature than if you were just sitting this out, inside of the atmosphere. So this works really great, and we're going to use it to patch this. So here are the tools we need for this job. First of all, it helps just to have a giant toolkit in your garage. That's different from the toolkit on your motorcycle. You're gonna need a torque wrench to put it back together. Oil pan to catch some of the oil that leaks out of this thing. So you want some gloves. If this was just the puncture here, then I would just patch it over the top. And you scuff it up with some sandpaper, you patch it, one round to pack some Weld in, and then another round to smear a thin layer of Weld over the top. But as we found out, we were running the bike, it's leaking here, and then we also see some kind of leak down here. So there's either a hairline crack, which I'll see when I remove the cylinder head cover, or it's just the drip path of the oil coming out of this crack. But either way, I want to take it off to make sure that it's okay. So we're gonna get started. Okay, and I'm between Torx bits right now, so I just have the one bit set that I own is inside of my toolkit on my motorcycle. So anytime I need to work on something in my garage, I have to just pull this out of my motorcycle gear, which is a little annoying, but that's why it's in this little bag. So these are the Torx bits you're going to need for this job. T50, T25, T30. I still find it kind of weird on a $30,000 motorcycle, they're just putting plastic bits all over it. The other thing you would usually need for this job that I don't have is a puller. I believe I can just kind of give this a little tug to break it from the spark plug, and then I can just pull the whole head off. Okay, so we are cleaning, obviously. Cleaning up the inside of this cylinder head. First thing you do, use a little degreaser. I have some brake cleaner lying around, so that's what I'm using. It's kind of sitting in here. I've whooshed it around a little bit just to, kind of let it soak up some of this sediment. That stuff works great, by the way. It just, just immediately sucks up that oil. So Probably not supposed to put it down the sink, but whatever. Okay, so now I just put some water in it, just do a little soak test, and you can see it's leaking. So I'm going to do one more round of brake clean. I should probably be using a toothbrush, but I really can't find mine, so I'm just using some shop rags. I've seen people do this patch job with worse, so I'm not worried about it. Nice thing too about the shop rag is it can absorb a lot of this chemicals, and then I can throw it away instead of dumping it down the sink. This little rubber here is for impacts. Okay, so anyway, that's the primer. So yeah, you see this has a crack in it, it's leaking, so we need to fix it. Okay, so the first thing you do is always clean the oil off. And all the grime and all the whatever. We don't have any grime because this bike only has like 4,000 miles on it, which is great. But clean all the junk off of it, dry it, etch it, clean it again, and then dry it again, and then put on the goo. We're going to do our best to, clean this off and prep it up before we put it back on the bike. But if you do have some metal shavings left in here, as long as they're teeny tiny, that's okay, because they're going to get sucked up by the oil filter. That's what the oil filter is there for. Okay, that's probably fine. The crack looks like it's right in there. Okay, looks good enough. And we'll do another round of absorbing. It is important to know this is sharp metal, so I could have, if I'm going too hard, I could just cut my finger on it. You can see a lot of little bits I had floating in there. Okay, so unfortunately what I'm going to do to get these out, I think, is I'm going to get as many of the chemical, brake clean, and oil and bits out of here absorbed as possible, and then I'm just going to run some water under it. Shoot a little bit on the outside. We're also going to save this part once we get the replacement and put it up somewhere as a decoration. Yeah, okay, so I don't know if you can see it here, but this is where that other crack is, right here. I should probably wear my headlamp. But yeah, I bet this is from when it landed. Yeah, there's a punch here, and there's a punch here. All right, we are clean and etched. Now, unfortunately, that's just really hard for me to get this whole piece etched all the way in this little crevice here, but I'm not too worried about it because I'm going to be putting JB Weld on the inside, and then I'm going to be putting JB Weld on the outside, and I'm going to kind of mush them together. So I think when they're going to fill in these cracks here from both ends, and I think it'll be sturdy enough to at least ride for a while. Okay, here's our stick. All right, so the way you're supposed to use this is you cut a piece off. That should be good. And then you smush it up. Until it's warm. The dark bits on the inside are the like steel shavings or something. You can tell they're a little sturdy. You just mix this up. I saw this in a video while I was preparing for this, but this is funny because the instructions say mix this with your fingers, and then later in the warnings they say that it is a skin irritant. Okay, so this feels pretty warm. Mix it till it's warm. That's and I'm just packing this in here. You know, I thought about taking a hammer, and kind of tapping this out to kind of push it back out, but I was too afraid that it would just finish the job and break this whole thing off, and so there'd just be a hole there. And if there's a hole, you can still patch it. I've seen it done, but it is way harder. Okay, that one looks good. That seems to look okay for now. I'm gonna get started on this one. Same process. I feel like I cut a little too much, so I'm gonna go a little easy. All right, wrap this up. I am just totally smitten with the existence of stuff like this. We live in such an amazing world. The fact that you could bring one of these sticks on the trail, crack your cylinder head open, paste it up, ride 1,000 miles back to civilization, get a piece there. That's just why? Because there's just these two chemicals that when they're separate, they're inert, and then when you squish them together, they go off. It's just incredible. Okay, this seems to be good. Let's mush this down. You know, you want to make sure this is why we etch it. You want to make sure this is like, you know, totally tapered into the surrounding walls. You don't want to see any gap. So FYI, these are, what are these? These are, okay, so these gloves are important. This JB Weld is sticking to these gloves. And it's, you know, obviously it's not going to ruin the process, but it is making it a little annoying. Like I'll push it down, I'll try to roll my glove off, and then it'll pull the piece up a little bit. So Thor grip heavy duty nitrile gloves. Not sure what it is about these. Maybe it's just nitrile, but you know, or the texture on them, but they are sticking. So keep that in mind. That's why I'm kind of using this thing, but I mean, this is sticking a little bit too. So I think what this process is going to be a lot of bench testing, which is, that's why it's actually, this is like one of the best, if you're going to bust your bike, this is one of the best ways to do it, because you can bench test this so easily by just putting some water in it and just watching it drip. Like, it's no sweat. Okay, I think we're as good as we're going to get for the first pass. If it still leaks, or I find it's leaking somewhere else, then I'm just going to put some more on. You just stick more right on top. Now we're going to patch the outside. Here and here. Same process, but you just need a teeny little slice. That's what I learned. Also, the chemical reaction of this thing smells quite strong, so I would suggest doing this. Opening the garage door. Because I don't want to pass out. You know, it's got this and we got brake clean. I forgot to etch the outside. And I just remembered while this thing was curing, so I gotta hustle here. This is good though, because it does show you, etching will show you exactly where the issue is. Remember, if you get a BMW Boxer engine and you're going to take this thing anywhere off-road, you got to get cylinder head covers. Protection. She got hit on the street, so that obviously doesn't make any sense for this situation, but this is like the fatal flaw of these BMWs. Okay, so the more I'm using this thing, the more I'm thinking these are sticking because of the previous JB Weld. Whoops, etched a little too much. It's not so much etching, this is like I'm just preparing it to paint. It's a little sad. I know they gotta save money everywhere possible, but it took 10 seconds of 220 grit sandpaper to reveal the bare metal under whatever this coating is, so lame BMW. Okay, I'm just gonna blast as much of this stuff on here as I can. I think if I was using my bare skin, then it'd be a lot easier to taper this. You know, so it looks decent. You can see it's a little chunky here. I've seen people do it. You know, they just taper, but you see if I go to taper it, it kind of rips the side up. But that's not my goal here. My goal is to protect my skin. I'm holding the other side with my finger again because I don't want to, I don't think I'm strong enough to do this, but I would be super screwed if I just punched it out. All right, let her cure. We'll be right back after the time has passed. See you then. Okay, it's been about 30 minutes. It's really solid. So we're gonna do a bench test, which is basically just putting water in here. I'm gonna see if it leaks. If it doesn't leak, then I'm gonna dry the water out and throw it back on the bike, run the bike for a while, and top it off with some oil, and we'll see how it goes. No leak. That's good. All right, let's fill this up, see if there's anywhere I missed. Cool. Fucking worked out great. All right, I'm just gonna dry this off here. And for these little grooves, I was using a towel, but I shouldn't. I need to be using a paper towel because I need it to suck up the water. Foxconn. That's funny. I had no idea. They make everything. Okay, so we have the thing patched. I did a water test. It doesn't seem to be leaking. So I'm going to put it back on the bike and take it for a spin and see what happens. All right, I'm going to put this back in here. Okay, feels good. Okay, so we have this set up. Now we just need to do the torque. I only have one giant torque wrench, so it's kind of overkill, but I just don't feel like buying another one. So let's see here. This is to 10 Newton meters, so I just set it up. 1, 2, 10. Okay, now torqued, we can pop this cover back on here. This cheap plastic piece of crap cover. Okay. Now let's plug this guy back in. Locked. Once I know that this is, drivable, then I'm going to use one of my valuable zip ties and zip that on. But until then, I'm just going to leave this off. And finally, the fun part. I'm going to do a little wabi-sabi. Okay, well, this thing is broken, but looks pretty sweet.
You just did great.
I don't know why it's not going in over there. It's always like that. Okay, put it back together. Feels quite solid, so now I'm going to fire this thing up and go right around the block. See what happens. I think we're recording. All right, what's going on here? Took the crash bar off the other side and glued this back together. Now, Honey Bunny is going to take this for a test ride.
I'm Honey Bunny.
And what are you going to do? See if it's leaking oil?
Overcome my irrational fear of getting hit by cars now.
All right, let's all wish her luck on her first ride since getting hit by a car. Bye, everyone.
It is a really funny sentence. Hey, what'd you do last night? Oh, I got hit by a fucking car. What about you?
Okay, I hear her. She made it.
It's like riding a bike.
Just keep it running.
Keep it running.
No leaks.
No leaks.
High five.
Oh, I was like,
Okay, so took it for a quick ride, checked the oil level. We didn't actually lose that much oil, so we didn't really need to put any in there. So yeah, it works great, which means Krista can ride this bike at will until we actually get the replacement part from the insurance. So that's it. JB Weld, steel stick, clean the area, etch it, put the JB Weld on both sides, and we're good to go. So thanks for watching.